Hello, you're listening to Brizzle Kicks. I am Coops,
And I'm Pat.
and this is your friendly Bristol football podcast. Talking about everything Rovers and City related, but also a little bit about the other football. Tonight, we've got the FA Cup on, Arsenal, Man City.
The Cup of Dreams, as they say, the domestic Cup of Dreams. It's been a good Friday night, hasn't it? Well, it's 0-0.
You know, old-fashioned football like this.
This is proper. This is what dreams are made of. Chinese on the table, few beers, Arsenal, Man City on the box.
What, is it Chinese if you got chips?
Of course, the Chinese with chips.
That's such a Bristol thing to do, that. Have chips if you're...
Were you not particularly in the chip
I
kind
only
of?
started having chips on my Chinese takeaway after I came to Bristol.
Well, I am so glad that we've made your life better in many ways. Well, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to introduce you to the chip to the Chinese. I'm sure this is not your first chip to the Chinese.
No, now it's a staple.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and rightly so, and yeah, and rightly so. And a chip again goes with most things. Most takeaways, you have a chip, right? You think of your Champions League of takeaways. Well, look, you've got your Chinese, you've got your Indian, you've got your pizza, and you've got your fish and chips, right? I mean, one of them is in the title, mate. The other three, all of them you can accompany with chips. Maybe the Rolls Royce of sides.
Yeah, even the modern takeaways, like the Greek takeaways, they now put chips in the
wraps, in the kebabs, in everything.
Yeah.
You know, chips really are the Rolls Royce, but overrated in my opinion.
Very versatile.
Versatile, but overrated. But that's just my opinion. I'm not even going to go into it. Out of the top four Champions League, pick your best takeaway.
Chinese.
Chinese.
Easy.
Yeah.
Does a lot.
Yeah.
Different flavours.
Absolutely.
Great for a Friday night of football.
Fantastic. Yeah, and it has gone down an absolute storm, although we are very full.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into this.
Right then, probably should start with hot off the press. Anton Semenyo. 12 million, is it?
I think we're looking more like 9 million, mate, plus add-ons. That's what was last said. Yeah. It was meant to be, wasn't it? One of them was going to go this summer, this January, sorry. And I think it was probably always going to be Semenyo. You can never turn down a lad to go and play in the Premier League, albeit only for 3 more months.
City selling their best players.
Same old, mate, same old. But we have players to sell, and that's sort of testament to the club. And I can understand why people are upset about it. People are starting to think we're just constantly selling our best players, but we're a mid-table Championship side. The whole idea is that we are creating players. If I'm a player and I play for Bristol City from the age of, I don't know, 14, right? I get into the academy, and then I get to my club and I hear a bit of interest, and it's from Premier League teams. I'm gonna go, no matter how much I like it.
Premier League teams.
Questionable, but at the end of the day, with parachute payments, Solanke's out injured, which means that he might be able to go straight into the squad and not have to sort of flitter about and hope for a chance. He might go straight in, and the form he's in as we speak, you know. I think it's 5 goals in 6 games. At the moment, he's been brilliant, and I'd go in a heartbeat. The parachute payments also suggest that he'd be back up the season after. So it's the right move, simple as that. I actually wish him all the best, to be fair, because he was a good player.
How very kind of you.
Isn't it? And I bet he's listening to this thinking, I'm definitely going to play well, thanks to Pat. Yeah, no, it's right. And you can take the piss as much as you want, but what do you think? How do you feel from a gas head? What do you...
Looking at Semenyo going, it's...
Apart from, obviously, you don't really care,
Okay.
but
he's could be quite a tough second half of the season for City.
I tend to agree. I think we need to bring in at least 2 more. We're looking at Cornick from Luton.
Haven't you stolen players off Luton already?
We took Naismith and they really weren't happy about that. But at the end of the day, when you take a club's player of the season, they're always not going to be happy, are they? Luton were really... So I saw it, I think it was like TalkSport or somewhere, put it out to say that we were sort of inquiring about Cornick and having a look and maybe going to put a bid in. And Luton were kind of saying, why would he go there? Smaller club, smaller fan. And I think if Luton Town are calling you a small club, you've really got to have a look, haven't you? Yeah. Luton. I don't really like Luton fans.
Does anybody like Luton?
I just think it's so insular, Luton. There's not really a lot going on, is there? The only thing they've got is that awful, dilapidated stadium that they try and sort of pass off as charming.
They've got that awful stand down the side, which is just boxes.
Yeah, and cheap EasyJet flights to Alicante, I suppose. Luton's airport isn't too bad.
No, it's got a decent airport.
Yeah.
Awful place.
It is literally just an
Apologies
airport.
to anyone from Luton that may be listening.
No apologies at all. Move. That's what I say. No, that's it. So yeah, that's it. And I hope we bring someone in, and obviously, otherwise, we are looking really quite threadbare up top.
Then Alex Scott could be gone.
Alex Scott has said that he's staying until the summer.
That means everything.
Well, he said, hasn't he? Since when has anybody ever lied? No, he's not going anywhere. I think we were in danger with Semenyo of becoming a bit like Blackburn and holding on to that Brereton, like that Diaz they've got. They were holding out for like 25 million for Diaz, and actually he hasn't hit that much form this season, and teams aren't really looking at him, and he's looking to go in for Villarreal for next to nothing when he's out of contract. So we cashed in on Semenyo.
If his name wasn't Diaz, it wouldn't be half as good.
If he didn't just throw the Diaz on the end of his name, I'm not sure what would happen. But with Alex Scott, I think we've got a genuine gem. The likes of like your Lloyd Kellys and your Semenyos and like your Bryans, your Bobby Reeds, those kind of players, they're kind of, they will always be your Bournemouth, Norwiches, to be completely honest with you. Semenyo is not going to go to a top 4 club, and he's not going to cement himself in the Ghanaian side.
Yo-yo player.
Yeah, he'll go to a few clubs. He'll be in and around the Prem. He's obvious at this stage anyway. I'm saying at this stage, who knows? He might kick on. Alex Scott, on the other hand, will genuinely captain England. And you can laugh as much as you want. I think he is so talented. He's absolutely brilliant. I think that the sky is his limit.
It's just a bit of a big shout saying captain England, not just play for England. Do you think he's going to captain it?
Well,
has he shown any leadership qualities?
No, not really.
So why the captain shout?
I'm not being funny, mate. At the age of 21.
Does he play for the England under-20s?
Yeah, he won the Euros with them.
Oh, did
He is a genuine gem that we will hold out for 20 million for. Just got to hope that he's still in form. But I mean,
how old is he?
He's 21 years of age.
He should be in the Premier League by now.
He's absolutely fantastic. Spurs are looking at him. Wolves were looking at him. There's some big clubs there looking at him, and I think we'll be able to get 20 million out. Now that's the gem. That's the one that you cannot let go of. The Semenyo one feels a bit small time. Depends on who we bring in before Tuesday.
The Euro is absolutely destroying Semenyo.
Destroying.
Saying he wasn't good enough.
I think his output hasn't been that good. I think he has all the attributes to be one of the best in the Championship and really set the Prem alight. Really, he could be brilliant. I just think his output hasn't been that great. That's where I slam him.
So you get 30 million. Would the club do anything with that, or?
Well, they'll probably pay off a bit more of the stadium. No, you'd like to think they'll reinvest. We're also just trying to get wages down and things like that.
They'll probably get a nice new sort of back for Bristol Bears, won't it?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, hopefully, they might get themselves a new post or something. No, look, if he reinvests into the team, I think it's brilliant business, and we just hope that we can build on it. Really.
So you don't go to many games. What would get you to go down to the game? What sort of signing would get you to go, right, I'm going to go and watch City?
Honestly?
Yeah. Like realistically. Like, obviously you could go Lionel Messi, but...
You want a realistic signing?
Yeah. on the spot a bit, but
Who's got Giroud?
AC Milan, isn't it?
Is he playing?
Not too clued up on any football really, which is a bit shocking that it's a football podcast.
Yeah, well, I mean,
He played in the World Cup. I think he plays for AC Milan quite a bit.
he did do quite well. He's probably doing quite well at AC Milan, isn't he? But you could probably get Giroud for 30 million, couldn't you?
I think that's probably overpaying. He's about 35.
Do you reckon you could get Giroud for 20 million?
Yeah, I think he's probably less than that.
Olivier Giroud would get me a season ticket 100%. 100% I'd go and watch Giroud.
You quit your managerial job.
Mate, this is absolutely ridiculous. Giroud is on 5 goals, 4 assists for AC Milan.
So he's not realistic, is he?
No, he's having an absolute blinder. But obviously,
just playing the World Cup final.
well, it's hard to say. All right, then
David
fine.
James playing the World Cup.
Let's go for the
Bristol City.
Let's go for the English Giroud, Andy Carroll. Well, it's hard to say, isn't it? It's hard to say what kind of signing we'd like to bring in. It has to be a quick winger that can score goals. Yeah, it's hard to say. Do you know what? It's not a player that will get me down Ashton Gate. It will never be a player. It will be us winning games consecutively, and a decent atmosphere down there. They've killed the atmosphere down there for years. The singing section's a waste of time. So here's what's happening at Ashton. So this week at Ashton Gate, the singing section.
I heard about this
against Birmingham. A lot of them decided, well, this is rubbish, right?
Yeah.
We're nowhere near the away fans. We can't hear them. They can't really hear us. There's a full length pitch going on here. It's just the atmosphere is dying a little bit. Let's go down the Dolman Block A. So by all accounts against Birmingham, right, a load of them went down to Block A, bought a load of tickets. I think they sold the whole block out, which is the one closest to the away fans. Atmosphere was good. We scored 4 goals at home, Coops, which...
When was the last time you scored 4 goals at home?
I actually cannot tell you the last time we scored 4 goals at home. I would even go as far to say that was probably under the Cotterill era. Actually, I take it back. We scored 4 against Huddersfield when we unveiled Matty Taylor on the pitch at half time. So I remember that one. And yeah, they all went down there. And then a club statement went out basically saying you cannot kick, obviously, season tickets out their seats. And a lot of season ticket holders in Block A were quite angry. And that's completely fair enough. So I think open the Atio, split it half and half. Same as it was when we were redeveloping it. The Atio stand when I was a season ticket holder, when we were half and half with the away fans, was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, I think we should bring that back, bring a bit more atmosphere back, because at the moment it really does feel a little bit sort of dross down at Ashton Gate.
At the moment, or just usually?
It's just kind of over the few months, over maybe a couple of seasons. It's just kind of the atmosphere has really dropped down. And football hasn't helped that either. We're not winning all the time, but actually it does feel a little bit more corporate and a little bit more kind of not tailored towards the noise-making fan, let's say.
How many times have you been this season?
I've been 4 times this season.
That's, yes.
It's enough.
That makes your argument credible.
Yeah, well, it just makes me think that I don't want to spend my money going down there on a Saturday afternoon. When I'd rather sort of watch the results come in and have a few beers.
From the comfort of your own home.
From the comfort of my own home, that's exactly it. Should we move on to the Gas, mate?
Yeah.
It's been quite a big couple of weeks for the Gas. They've had kind of national news thrown at them, right?
Yeah, they have, yeah. Obviously, the Nick Anderton shaving the head in support of him. I think it's up to £42,000 now. That's
brilliant. And obviously, Bristol City tomorrow. Hopefully this goes out on time, but unlikely. But yeah, we're there's obviously a bucket collection.
Rovers fans are going down to collect.
Yeah, absolutely. It does show the power of what actually we can do. 42 grand, mate. That'll get you a new stand, won't it?
Probably would, yeah.
Yeah, so if both teams come together to get you a nice stand...
We'll start raising money for a new tent.
Yeah. Raising money for some new tent poles. But no, look, I watched a video of all the players down at the barber shop.
Conveniently, a Bristol City fan was a barber.
Bristol City fan.
Didn't shave his own head, though.
Well, he's not going to shave his own head, is he?
Why?
Well, he's a barber. I didn't see the other barber not shave his head either.
True.
And I haven't noticed that you haven't shaved your head, Coops.
After my holiday.
After your holiday. And when did you go on holiday?
2 weeks.
Could I just... Are you sure?
No.
I must say, mate, if you were to get your hair cut, it would be the last one you ever have.
That is the worry. So, yeah.
But no, really important. Obviously, go and support that if you're a City fan. Then Ashton Gate tomorrow, please.
Yeah, but it'll be Rovers' first game as Bristol Razors tomorrow.
Bristol Razors.
That's what they're calling themselves.
Yeah, nice. I have to say, on the training ground this week and last week, it must be really difficult.
Yeah, well, there was an interview with the assistant, Andy Mangan.
You're right.
Said he was struggling to tell the difference between different players.
Yeah.
So it could give us that little advantage over the opposition.
An advantage over the opposition or a disadvantage, do you think?
A wide disadvantage.
Well, because Joey's obviously on the sideline shouting whatever rubbish he's shouting, and he's
Joey
going,
Barton with a skinhead as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a skinhead. If there's one bloke in this in this whole country that doesn't need a skinhead, it's Joey Barton. To be fair to him,
But it would be quite intimidating up against a Joey Barton team full of skinheads, with Joey Barton on the sideline as a skinhead as well.
I think this is going to be sort of the resurrection of like the 80s, isn't it? And they're all turning up in monkey boots and bomber jackets and Ben Sherman check shirts.
The new match day tracksuit.
Yeah, and they've got braces on and they're all listening to Scar as they walk in. Yeah, it could be good. No. Yeah, all obviously worthwhile cause. Any signings? Anything on football, mate?
Yeah, we've actually signed a few players. But we've signed a guy from Liverpool.
Yeah.
First teamer.
Okay. Yeah, what's his name? Mohamed Salad.
And we signed a goalkeeper, which is surprising because our goalkeeper was Player of the Year last year.
Yeah.
But also, the other thing I was thinking, like, if you're a new player coming into Rovers at the moment, it's going to be a bit of social pressure to shave your head.
Do you think there's a player out there that's been offered Bristol Rovers and has turned it down because he doesn't want to shave his head?
Yeah, maybe Todd Cantwell. he likes his head, doesn't he?
Todd Cantwell.
Yeah.
You think Todd Cantwell has had a look at the gaps
Yeah,
and thought, I would have gone, Joey, honestly, mate, but I just can't get rid of me locks. Yeah, fair point.
It would be quite intimidating thing to come into.
I mean, if there's one thing to say about Barton is he gets quite an intimidating side anyway.
Right.
So then have them shaving their heads. All they need is a teardrop tattoo, and I'm not sure the other team would turn up.
It's obviously a great thing, and it's raising great awareness, soccer AM and all sorts. But it's going to become a bit of like a bit culty, I think, because the Rovers game was called off at the weekend, but they had free hair shaving parlours set up where you donate and you get your head shaved. So just imagine like thousands of football fans.
I wouldn't go as far as thousands, but however many turn up tomorrow. There's a lot of sort of 15, 16, 17-year-old lads who are going to come home to their mum and dad after 4 or 5 Thatcher's goals after a day at the football with a shaved head, and they are going to get grounded for weeks. And yet you'll see a drop off in fans. I'll tell you that. You'll see a drop off.
Well, you get if you shave your head and you get a score, you get told off, don't you?
A lot of schools have a policy. Yeah, I'd
So
imagine.
if you turn up and go, I've shaved my head for Nick Anderson to raise
money
cancer awareness.
for bone cancer. Yeah, well, I think that has to be fair enough. There'll be a lot being sent home, but yeah, I can tell you now there's going to be some shock mum and dads the next time they're allowed to come back from Rovers.
Would you shave your hair off?
Would I shave my hair off? I wouldn't. No, I don't think I would. Obviously, if I was in a team and if work dictated, I would think about it. But yeah, my work wouldn't be too happy, I don't think.
But yeah, no. Apart from, it'd be quite a month at Rovers apart from that, really. So obviously everything is keeping Aaron Collins at the gas.
Yeah.
And let's hope that Bristol City don't come in with that 12 million.
Well, he shaved his head now, hasn't he? So he's stuck. Just quickly, frozen pitches. Obviously, the Rovers game called off last week. They called it off on the Friday at 3:00. Do you think they could have done more to thaw the pitch? Maybe get some heaters in? Do you think they could have maybe put another post on Facebook for help? What kind of things could Gas could have done, mate?
If the pitch is frozen, it's frozen, isn't it?
Can you not heat a pitch?
It did feel, like when I saw it on the Friday, it did feel like
little bit Tim Pot,
Bit-
bit premature.
A bit early, yeah.
I understand, right? So this is really interesting. Obviously, with the weather, I think this is going to be it for the rest of the time. It gets frozen, right? That's the nature of grass. To call that off that early at that level of football is, especially when only kind of 3-4 miles away a game was going ahead on grass in BS3. I don't really understand why.
Was it?
Yeah.
We were both at home last week, were we?
We were both at home, yes, which is probably why they also called it off. But yeah, and it's happening at all kinds of levels. And obviously, the lower down you get, I completely understand that groundsmen haven't got the ability to fix a pitch overnight. Of course not. But
Tell you what, that groundsman down at Keynsham needs to do a bit more work, doesn't he?
he needs to put some drainage in, I'll tell you that. This is obviously yeah. So obviously with all the rainfall we had, it is literally 6 feet under deep. The local rugby lads are out on the jet skis. Yeah.
I'm surprised that hasn't got more coverage.
Yeah. Well, I think BBC picks it up a bit, but
I drove past it and it was like a
it's a fishing lake now. Mate. Yeah, it's an absolute fishing lake.
Like the crossbar, it's just the water was up to like nearly the crossbar.
Yeah. It's an actual shame, really, because obviously Keynsham, that's going to cost a lot of money for both clubs. So yeah, thoughts are with them. But if you fancy a game of water polo anytime soon,
diversification. Maybe let's just sell the space for some water activities to fund the.
Absolutely. Yeah. Put a kind of total wipeout style course up there. There's some real money making schemes.
Wild swimming.
Wild swimming. Loads of people are doing that around Bristol
Jet
now.
skiing. Banana boats.
Banana boats. It could be like the Costa del Keynsham, mate. That's it. The Costa del Keynsham, because you've got two beaches, because you've also got Fries that is also underwater. You could have a real kind of banana boats, parasailing. You get to see all over the ring road.
You see some yachts down there soon. Just
it'd be like the Monaco of Bristol, mate. Right, I think you're onto something. Maybe we sort of pump so much money into it that the ring road becomes like Formula One track, and we really go down the Monaco route.
Imagine that: Monaco, Singapore,
Keynsham, yeah, and all these sort of like billionaires turn up on their yachts. I think. Yeah, so obviously that's affected that pitch. That's an all-weather pitch, which is an all-weather pitch. But frozen. What time should you call off? I think Rovers were too early. I think a load of games are called off too late. I mean, you saw the women's game on Sunday, which was laughable, an absolute howler from whoever kicked that game off. That referee should be sacked for that.
What possessed them to go and kick the game?
I cannot understand. And did you see the clips of them falling over?
It
was an ice rink.
It does it like with where the women's game is at the moment. It doesn't really help it, does it?
The women's game is going to take a lot of people to shift their mindset by letting them sort of get a 5-minute compilation video of them falling over and slipping up. It's just not going to help.
I saw one and someone's put the Benny Hill music on it.
Exactly. And
the FA have got a lot to answer for that because they've directly caused that.
They've influenced that completely. But yeah, when's the right time to call a game off, Coops?
In the morning.
In the morning.
Like before people travel.
Yeah.
Like 9 a.m. But Rovers and Wycombe was a weird one because you'd understand if it was like Rovers versus Carlisle where they're leaving it like.
They might be staying down for the weekend and things like that. Yeah, absolutely.
But it was Wycombe. It's only down the M4.
Yeah, it's an odd choice to make. Obviously, they just didn't have the help and didn't have the people around to make the game happen, I'd say.
But yeah, I think it's the morning of the game, around 9 a.m. If the pitch is frozen and the weather is, that was the thing with the women's games is that as soon as the cover's off, and the cold weather hit the ground, it just refroze it.
It just refroze, yeah.
And didn't warm. The temperature was never going to warm up, so it was like you could easily just predict that this game should go on.
It doesn't take a genius to work out if it's -4 at night. The next day, the ground's going to be rock hard.
Yeah, but games were on in Bristol, weren't they?
What local games?
Yeah.
No, not many at all.
Were the Downs on?
No, of course not the Danes.
I thought the Downs play for anything.
Yeah, to be fair, I've seen some bad pitches at the Danes. If anything, a bit of ice might have levelled them out. No, not many games at all, and a lot of them called off late, letting a lot of teams travel far, lots of costs to lower league teams. Yeah, sort it out, everybody. 9 a.m, get it called off before anyone travels.
Oh, yeah, Pat says so. So, City have just scored in the FA Cup 1-0
Man
against
City.
Arsenal.
Yeah, goal from Ake.
Nathan Ake.
Yeah.
I think they took Rob Holding off.
Oh, so our red card bet is out the window.
I was looking pretty nailed on, which is probably why he got taken off.
Yeah.
But FA Cup 4th round this weekend. Obviously, you've got West Brom. You excited? It could be in the 5th round of the magical cup, as they say.
Yeah, am I excited? I don't know, because I think we'll lose. But, to get to the 4th round's good. I'll be honest, and I've said this to you before, and I hope, and I truly, truly mean this. The only thing that excites me about the FA Cup is the chance of drawing Bristol Rovers.
Yeah.
And every fucking year, you decide not to bother. And you think, we'll just go out and you bottle it again and again and again. You bottle the 3rd round because you know there's a chance of playing us. I know
We
that's
didn't
it.
bottle it, we just lost to somebody.
Who was it? You lost someone poor, didn't you? Was it Port Vale?
It was someone in a league below,
Uh,
I think. No, non-league team. We lost to Boreham Wood. They're a good cup side, though.
you can say what you want about Boreham Wood. You shouldn't have lost to them, and you obviously bottled it.
Hey, Boreham Wood are still in it.
They are a good cup team.
And they went all the way to the 5th round last year, didn't they?
Well, yeah, but they, do you think Boreham Wood described that as a giant killing?
Or beat Bristol Rovers.
Beat Bristol Rovers, or do you think they went, we should have beaten them and we look good?
No, yeah, of course it's a giant killing. There's 3 leagues that separate them.
Yes,
But they're used to to be fair to them, they are quite used to giant killing now.
they are.
So they probably thought that Bristol Rovers is probably not our biggest scalp we've taken in the last couple of years.
Absolutely, they would have
But
thought
it is
that.
another scalp.
That's in my opinion, mate, they probably thought it was just another day at the office. Thanks a lot.
I mean, who knocked you out of the Carabao Cup? You got absolutely blitzed by Lincoln, wasn't it?
Say what you want, mate. Lincoln again, good cup team. As you know, under Danny Cowley, who took them very far. Under the Cowley, so in the FA Cup. Anyway, back to FA Cup. None of this slander. Am I interested? Not really. Are you?
You're interested while you're in it. Like, it was disappointing getting knocked out, especially when you're a team in a league where you're not going to go down, and Rovers are flirting with playoffs a little bit, but you're not expected to compete in the top 6.
Yeah.
So the cup is sort of the one thing we had. We had obviously the Mickey Mouse Cup as well, the Johnson's Paint or whatever it's called now, Papa John's or
The fact
Pizza
you're calling
Cup.
it a Mickey Mouse trophy, obviously that's coming from someone who's never won that, and we've won it twice. But
And we look like we weren't too far from Wembley in that one either. So
no.
when I say either, we're nowhere near Wembley.
We're not too far from Wembley either. No, look, the FA Cup, it has its magic moments. I love watching the early rounds of the FA Cup. At this stage, watching Arsenal Man City on a Friday night, what a waste of time this is. What a waste of absolute time.
What I like is this time of year, the 3rd round, the 4th round, where you get a team like Boreham Wood, and they're hosting someone like Arsenal, or not someone as good as Arsenal, but like someone bottom half Premier League team who absolutely go and shit themselves when they go down there.
Last year, Leeds versus, was it Stevenage?
Yeah,
Mark Wright was there, wasn't he?
yeah.
And I just thought, that is what the FA Cup's about, isn't it? In a massive club like Leeds,
In these
going to
boxy changing
Stevenage in
rooms.
these tiny changing rooms. And it's a real leveller.
Yeah.
And that's why these scalps happen. I think it's brilliant because, I guess if you're a player for the other team, you might want to go and experience what it's like there. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose away from home. Just get a home tie against a good side. It's a real leveller, actually. And it goes to show that on anyone's day, realistically, anyone can beat anyone within the professional setup, right?
You don't want to be some foreign international player going down to Wilston away on a Sunday morning
No.
to then be abused by the Wilson radio on the side from about 2 foot away.
Exactly. And you had Wayne the
That-
Pie Eater in the dugout, and you got all that going
don't
on.
get that- you don't
You're
get that
playing
in
on
Premier League.
3G with some bloke spitting at you, and I just love it. And they're so far removed from that kind of level of football that when you put them in that situation, all right, they do quite well normally. But sometimes you do end up with an absolute scalp, and that's the magic of the FA Cup. Watching Arsenal Man City,
When they've dropped all that.
and there are hundreds of millions of pounds and all of this rubbish.
And
It
they've got
doesn't
that. They've rested players.
Yeah, they're both resting players. It obviously shows that there's no real. They want to win the game. It's football, right? You want to win every game.
It was looking good when they had Rob Holden on the pitch. That was
That was a bit of fun because Haaland Holden was quite a battle.
I wouldn't know if you call it a battle. It was more
No.
like a panic.
Is there a longevity in the FA Cup? As in, are people eventually going to just say, let's get rid of this?
I'm not before the Carabao Cup, but the FA Cup's having a whole Wrexham. This is perfect for the FA. Wrexham going far in the FA Cup. 'Cause
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
getting this amazing US audience now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if something's going on there.
There's a bit of inside job going
Yeah,
on.
let's give them this referee.
Well, the BBC have picked up their game, obviously, for television.
Yeah.
There's definitely something. in there.
There's a ridiculous amount of people watch the Wrexham Coventry game in the US.
Yeah.
And it's mental, really. You got all this American audience watching National League football.
It's quite interesting, and best of luck to Wrexham, to be honest. I would have liked to have seen Rob and the other bloke, Ryan Reynolds. I'd like to see them two go a bit lower. Wrexham were already quite a big side, weren't they, really? I'd have liked to see them down the Downs with
Take a team.
Racing Mouse FC, and I want to see them taken from literally the bottom echelon of football to the Premier
Can
League.
you get promoted out the Downs League?
Of course you can.
I thought it's like its own league.
That's a very good point. Maybe not the Downs.
That'd be a big mistake, wouldn't it?
Well, then, you work your way up through the Downs.
Six
You-
years through the Downs League gets to the top of the league. and
Just- then you gotta
realise
stay
can't-
there.
You realise you can't get out of it.
They've built a 45,000 seater stadium on top of the Downs. No, I would like to see them go lower. I knew about Wrexham. I want to see them take someone really low. That's why I love, Dorking
If-
Wanderers.
If you were a multi-billionaire, what team would you pick?
If you know exactly what team I'd pick.
Oh.
If I was a multi-millionaire, I would probably down in kind of non-league football.
Yeah.
I'd like to see someone like Bristol Manor Farm.
Well, you wouldn't pick Almondsbury.
Well, of course I'd pick Almondsbury, but more realistically, if I was a multi-millionaire, I'd like to take Manor Farm to the Premier League.
Bristol Manor Farm Premier League champions.
Yeah, before City and Rovers. Yeah, that'll be it. But yeah, look, the magic of the FA Cup. You're not in it. We are.
We were in it.
Well, everyone's in it. And hopefully we sort of beat West Brom and get through to the next round and get a nice big tie somewhere.
Boreham Wood.
Somewhere nice. And then lose to Boreham Wood in the next round. We'll wrap this episode up, mate. I've lost track now. What were we on? Was that episode 3? Episode 2 of season
I don't know
3?
what season we're on now.
Whatever it was, we hope you enjoyed it. We are going to try and do this more regularly, so obviously...
If you're interested, drop us a tweet at BrizzleKicksPod.
or obviously send us an email, brizzlekickspod@gmail.com.
Remember it.
Yeah, always do. Thanks for listening.
Right,
and I
ride your
guess
bike.
we'll see you whenever we see you.
Ciao.
Cheers.